Welcome to Two Angry Men, the newest podcast with Los Angeles Magazine's own Mark Geragos and TMZ's Harvey Levin, where the two get together and talk about the biggest legal stories of the day. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Two Angry Men podcast. I'm Harvey Levin.
I'm Mark Geragos.
Wow.
By the
Wow.
There's so much going on today.
I just cannot believe what happened in Diddy. I cannot believe what was filed today. That the Cassie video, I don't see how that is going to be entered into evidence because of what happened. That video, I don't believe is going to be part of the trial now.
You know, it's interesting. I saw the public filing, and why it's interesting to me is the idea that CNN, if true, had knowledge, obviously, because they were reporting on the federal investigation. And for those who aren't in the weeds, apparently, with knowledge of the federal investigation, apparently got rid of, destroyed, or the surveillance.
So let's explain this. So everybody knows there is video of Diddy beating Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, which is part of LA, back in 2016. He is not being charged with that. That's a state crime, and the statute of limitations has run. Nonetheless, prosecutors want to introduce that into evidence because they say it shows a lack of consent at these freak-offs, which is critical to their case, and that this was shot around the same time that Cassie and Diddy were engaged in a freak-off. So that's why this is so important. Are you with me so far?
Yeah, I am with you so far. You might remember, I think we talked about this before, in the bail hearings, they've always maintained basically what you've just articulated. In the bail hearings, they say that the freak-offs were taking place, that this is because she's trying to extricate herself from a freak-off.
Right.
But it now appears that we're not sure that this is even the original, because apparently the original was delivered to CNN when they played it. When did they play it? Back in May?
Yeah, it was almost a year ago. But we should explain what happened today. So the prosecution and the defense filed a joint letter about various pieces of evidence. There is a portion of this letter where the defense is saying CNN purchased this video and then altered it, that they took things out of sequence, they sped it up, they did several other things, and when they aired it, they did not air the original video. You were, according to the defense, you're not looking at the way it actually played out based on what CNN aired. And they have aired this over and over, as has everyone, including TMZ. So now what they're saying is that apparently the defense asked CNN for the video because they want to see it for the purpose of the trial. And the way I understand it, Mark, is that CNN got back to the defense and said the video's been destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to even speculate, but it's just somewhat breathtaking to me. I mean, especially because, like I said, if you read the transcripts of the bail hearings, so much was invested in the video, as you said, as to why he should be in custody, why he shouldn't be released. The video was everything.
So let me read this. This is from that letter, and this is what the defense is saying.
By the way, let me set up what these letters are, because
Fair.
You and I talked off the air. This is something that has become somewhat standard in discovery disputes in the law, where they kind of put in the defense position, the prosecution position, to give you a Chinese restaurant menu, basically, for the judge to choose. Okay, so I know where the dispute is. I'm going to. This is what the defense says. Also, I once had a judge, former California Supreme Court Justice Carlos Moreno, when he was sitting on the federal bench, said to me, "I don't even read discovery motions, because it's a waste of time. I order you to meet and confer." This is a way for the defense and the prosecution to meet and confer.
To figure out what they're going to agree on and what they're going to contest. So here's what the defense said, and this is a quote. CNN purchased the only known copy of the hotel's surveillance footage, uploaded that footage into a free editing software, altered the video, and then destroyed the original footage, even though it knew about and repeatedly reported about the federal investigation. So that's what the defense is saying. By the way, we've called CNN several times. We still have not gotten an answer yet on this, but that's what the defense is saying. And
by the way, is CNN reporting on this?
No, we haven't heard anything yet. We have not heard anything yet.
Has somebody Googled CNN and this?
I did, and I didn't find anything as of the time we're talking right now. So let me read this. This is also from the defense letter, that they're saying that CNN altered and edited the footage by, and this is the quote, covering the timestamp and then changing the video sequence. It also includes speeding up the video to make it falsely appear that the actions in the video are taking place faster than they are. As a result, the CNN videos do not fairly and accurately depict the events in question. So the Intercontinental...
So I have a question.
Hold on. We should just say, the Intercontinental Hotel is no longer there. It's a new hotel. Correct. So there's no other video, as far as we know, that would be a true and correct copy of the original.
Well, I want to break the fourth wall here a little bit. Your TMZ is always kind of reputed to buy videos. Are you able to answer that question? You sometimes ask me questions.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've said this from the beginning. We absolutely buy videos, as does everybody. I mean, when there are stringers that, cover the night and cover accidents, every station buys from everybody buys videos. And yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
And
by the way, nothing wrong with it.
Right. I mean, it's standard operating procedure that people will go and say, you can buy it for me, or I'm going to sell it to TMZ. I mean, that's right.
Everybody buys video. Everybody licenses video. There's nobody that doesn't. So anyway, go on.
Okay. So have you ever, and how long has TMZ been around? 20 years, right?
Almost 20.
Yeah, almost 20. And you and I have talked about some of our cases I used to scream at you about. Yes. So my question is, in that almost 20 years, have you ever bought a video and then destroyed it?
No. I mean, I don't understand the destroying part. I don't understand that. I guess I also, in this case, look, I don't know what CNN's going to say, and I just know this is what the defense is saying. But this is one where what I want to hear even more than about whether they destroyed it or not is, did they alter it?
Yeah, what is that? I was going to ask you again.
I can't answer it.
What is this editing software that's being talked about? What is that?
I don't know, but especially something this incendiary. I don't know.
Incendiary. There's a federal investigation going on that they've reported on.
I know. I don't know what CNN is going to say, and I don't want to put words in their mouth. And I know this is just what the defense is saying, but if they did edit it, God, it's just breathtaking to me. But I got to say, Mark, look, correct me if I'm wrong here, but a first-year law student knows this, that if there is edited video and one side or the other in court wants to have it admitted into evidence, the judge is not going to allow it in, because you need to see the unedited video out of fairness and accuracy to know exactly what it is. And if things were taken out of sequence, if things were edited at all, where the jury's getting a skewed view, not only do I think it's inadmissible. But I think if they did admit it, it would be reversible error.
Well, there's always in the law, the argument generally goes, does it go to weight or admissibility? But that argument is generally when you've leaped over the authenticity.
Right.
So, right? So this is the authenticity.
Right. I mean, am I wrong here? I don't see how this ever gets admitted, because if it's indeed an altered video where the original was destroyed, I don't see how the judge is going to allow that.
Don't you have somebody sitting over there in your studio who knows what's this editing? What is it called? The editing software?
Yeah. I don't know what that is, but I think you can kind of figure it out. I think they're just saying it's an edit machine where they edited it down. I mean, there's no magic to that. That you download the hard drive, and
Right.
then you put it in your system, and you presumably you can edit it. And I guess that's what the defense is saying. Again,
Well, do you
we haven't
do
heard from
that when
CNN.
when TMZ buys something?
We edit. No, it depends. I mean, look, we buy a lot of things, and yeah, do we air all of it all the time? No. And most of it has nothing to do with court cases. So it just depends on
Correct.
Look,
And it's the fact-
I'll give you an example. If somebody shoots a fight on Hollywood Boulevard and they give us 15 minutes of the fight, we're not going to show 15 minutes of the fight. We're going to edit it. And we do, and everybody does that. Everything gets edited down usually in the normal course of things. But if it's something that is this significant, which is showing brutality that connects to the federal investigation and the trial, you want to show the way it actually went down. Now, maybe there might be something at the beginning where nothing's going on, and you can start it later, and you could end it maybe earlier if nothing happens after a certain point, and that happens. But if what the defense seems to be saying is they actually moved things around, they moved the sequences of things around. That's what the allegation is in this letter, and that's stunning to me.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I wish I knew exactly what they are saying, they being CNN, because it doesn't make a part of this just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Let's assume I'm right, that the judge does not allow this into evidence, the video. That does not preclude Cassie from taking the stand and saying what she says happened to her.
Well, I just read something from her lawyer?
Yeah, her lawyer did issue a statement.
What did he say?
Oh gosh, Mark.
Come on, you're the reporter.
Can you get that and actually come on over here? We'll have it in a minute. I looked at it, but there's been so much going on. But she could testify about what she says happened to her.
Admissibility doesn't affect what somebody can testify to actually happened. But what part of there's a lot of interesting things here. The defense, I don't know why who's to say the defense could have, I suppose, waited and used this as impeachment, so to speak. She gets her on the stand, she testifies to ABC, and you say, well, wait a second here, here's the video. And
she's seen that doesn't make sense because she's seen the video. I mean,
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if
she's seen the video.
Who's seen the CNN version?
Everybody.
No, they've seen the post.
But if the defense is right, nobody can see the actual version, so there's nothing to impeach. In other words, there's no full version.
Well, that's if but remember, who would object to it? Clearly, the prosecution wants to get it into evidence. So remember who the proponent is. They want to get it into evidence. Defense would presumably keep it out. But if the prosecution wants to put it in evidence, she takes a stand and says something that's different than what presumably the real video showed. That's an interesting question.
Okay, Weil just handed me the Cassie attorney statement. It is not surprising that Combs would make a disingenuous argument to exclude the disturbing video from being shown to the jury in the upcoming trial. I am confident that the video fairly and accurately represents what happened, will be admitted into evidence, and that Combs will be held accountable for his depravity. So I guess, her lawyer thinks it's going to be admitted. And again, I'm not taking a position on whether it should or shouldn't be. I just am looking at remembering first-year law school in terms of evidence. And if it's been edited, I don't see how the judge jumps that hurdle.
Yeah, and by the way, well, it's a whole nother story.
Here's the thing everybody in my office is talking about. They're saying you cannot unring this bell, that everybody has seen the video. It is shocking. It is appalling. It is unforgivable. Some say irredeemable, and that it will be seared into the minds of any juror, of all the jurors, and that, even if you can't show it in court, they've seen it over and over. So if you were on the defense team, what do you do with that? Because everybody's seen it.
Well, I think to some degree, didn't we talk about this before? It's the Rodney King phenomena. You take it, you play it, you analyze it, and you see, what is going on. I mean, I can't imagine where Sean would run away from it in any way, shape, or form. And I don't think it's any surprise that I'm aware that he, in real time, Sean took steps to address where he was. That was a dark, low point in his life.
But he ain't going to testify. So come on, Mark, he's not going to testify. He's not going to testify.
There are other ways to show without revealing. There are other ways to show that he immediately recognized he had an issue.
Well, fair, but still, the jury has seen this. And
well, I agree. And that's part of why this case, jury selection, is so important. I mean, you're going to need, obviously, a questionnaire. You're going to need an extensive questionnaire. This is one of those supersized cases that comes along very infrequently, even though we throw around trial of the century. It seems like I always say every May there's a trial of the century. I've been saying that for years. Coincidentally, this is set for May. But having said that, this is a case that is so big and it crosses so many demographics and has been covered so extensively that there's going to have to be a deep dive on jury selection in the questionnaire and prospective jurors, because otherwise, I don't know. I can name maybe a handful of other cases where I think people will come with a prejudgment rate that is off the chart.
Yeah, I mean, they said that about O.J. Simpson.
Yep.
They said that about O.J. Simpson.
It was true. They said, Joellen Demetrius, who was involved in jury selection for O.J. and for Scott Peterson, said the same thing in both, that she thought she would never see any prejudgment rate like she had saw in O.J., and then she saw it in Peterson. And I will tell you, I'm sitting there where they called in 1,600 people for Peterson. And even the people, I often tell this joke, but it's not really a joke. On the questionnaires, there were people who were barely literate, and they'd say, "What is your opinion of Scott Peterson?" And somebody had written it Gitty. They couldn't even spell it right, but they wrote it.
Let me turn this and make an argument that if this gets excluded, it actually hurts the defense. And here's why I'm saying that. Just think about this. This video has been played thousands of times. Everybody has seen it multiple times. They've seen the version that CNN has put out there, whether it's edited or unedited. They've seen that version and that version alone over and over and over, and people have reached their conclusions. If it's not admitted into evidence, then the defense can't say, but there are things about that video that you don't understand because everybody's got their own view based on what they've seen over and over. So by not having it in, the defense loses their ability to dissect it.
Well, that's why you brought it full circle. Speaking of Law School 101, maybe it's not admissible in the case in chief, but it is used for impeachment, or the prosecution does get to use it if there is a challenge, for instance, to a cross-examination of a witness who was there, and you've challenged them, and you want to show some kind of a prior consistent or prior recollection recorded or something that would that I hate this expression. My father used to hate it, and it's passed down generationally as open the door. But he used to say, "There's no such thing as opening the door, evidence-wise." But
There is.
yeah, there is. If you were to challenge,
Yeah.
if you were to go there, and you can't say on one hand, I don't want it admissible in the case in chief, but if you raise the issue or challenge something about it, then it may come in anyway as impeachment or to corroborate.
So you're being uncharacteristically hedgy here. Is this going to be admitted or not?
I think that Joe and I said before, did we not, that the mother of the judge has not been born who's going to exclude it?
You guys said that. You and Joe Tacopina did say that on last week's podcast, but we also didn't know this. And
that's very correct. So maybe we should have brought Joe back to see if he's changed his mind.
You're still hedging.
The reason I'm hedging is I want to know more. I don't know enough about this editing software. I really want to know if we're talking about something that removes frames, if we're talking about something that does.
Let's say no frame has been removed. Let's say though,
what would be edited other than
moving sequences and changing speed.
That to me is, I don't know how you get it in.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, am I missing something here?
No, then if what you're talking about is changing speed, and if you're talking about removing sequences or changing the sequence of events, how does that come in?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that's, again, this is what the defense is saying. We have not yet heard from CNN. So, not passing judgment because we don't know what CNN is going to say.
Isn't TMZ owned by Fox?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you think CNN is going to engage on this?
Well, whether they engage, first of all, I mean, we're just reporting this, and
I'm not reporting it.
No, we want to find out, and if CNN has a position, that goes up on our website immediately.
How could they not have a position? How do they?
I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't look. I'm not there, so I don't know. But I would just, I hope at some point they come out and say they may dispute this. I mean, as far as we know, they may say we never moved anything around. They may say we didn't speed anything up. They may say there is an original copy. I don't know what they're going to say. We're just waiting to hear. The only thing that we reported is the letter that was filed with the judge and what the defense said. So that's all we have right now. The defense, I'm assuming the defense must have had, help me out here, they must have had some discussion with CNN before coming up with this conclusion, right?
Well, it sounds like it from reading the letter. I mean, read the letter. What does it say?
It feels like they've talked to CNN. It also feels like they somehow found this security guard who allegedly sold it to CNN. It feels like they talked to him as well.
Interesting. The whole thing is interesting.
Why are you hedging so much?
Because I want to see what they say. That's why I'm hedging. I want to see what they say.
I mean, I want to see what they say too, but all I'm saying is if the defense is being correct, accurate here, if they're being correct and accurate, and again, I don't know, we're just reporting what was filed with the court, but if they're correct about it, I guess what I'm saying is I just don't see how a judge would do that, because this judge does not want to be reversed if he's convicted. He wants, he does not want a Cosby on his hands in terms of, getting a reversal from the Supreme Court of the state, right?
Well, that was Cosby. This is federal, so they
Oh God, the point I'm making. What is going on today? Is this about your daughter? Is this about the fact that your daughter is on this case?
I'm very protective. I'm a protective father.
Right. But this is reverse nepotism.
Yes.
This is like, you shouldn't be driven by your daughter. You're an independent human being. So that's
I
why we're
wanna
talking.
Why don't we bring Jim Comey on here and we'll have Jim Comey
Oh
talk about his
God.
daughter. You realize his daughter
I know his
is
daughter's in the case on the
she's
prosecution
on the
side.
prosecution side.
I
It really is.
know.
The world gets smaller by the day.
Are you going to help anybody listening to this out? Why are you this is not Mark Geragos.
Yes, I know, but because I'm preoccupied with a different case. That's all I can tell you.
You want to talk about that different case for a second?
No, I want to actually talk about a case that I'm not involved in, which I have been fascinated with today, which you got me started on this morning.
It's crazy.
So,
Wendy Williams. Oh my God.
yeah, this to me, I have been obsessed with this today, even though all of this other stuff is happening. I don't tell the story as you told it to me because it blows me away.
So 2 nights ago, we got a letter from the attorney for Wendy Williams' guardian. And the guardian was saying that a lot of what's being reported is wrong, that essentially Wendy has the right to come and go from the facility that she's in right now, that they never deny family members the ability to interact with her, and a bunch of other things. So
was this letter addressed to TMZ or Two Angry Men?
No, it was addressed to TMZ.
Okay.
Don't flatter yourself.
No, well, no, I was going to just say, if you're getting legal letters, and you're not sharing it,
when you read it, it's not a legal letter. It's not like a demand or anything. They're just kind of, you know what I think it was? The way I read it, maybe I'm wrong, but the way I read it was, hey guys, when you're reporting it, you should understand we're not doing these things. We're not like restricting her this way. She can go out to eat. They even use that phrase. She can go out to eat. She can go to doctor's appointments, etc. So last night, Wendy had just come home from the hospital where she aced the competency exam with a psychiatrist, showing that she is not at all incapacitated. So she comes back to that facility that she's been living at with her niece, Alex. They go up to her room, which is in the 5th floor memory unit, and they spend a little time there and decide they're going to go out to dinner. So they leave, and they are at dinner, and Alex gets a call from one of the lawyers in the case saying that facility called the police to report that you took Wendy out and it's against the law. And Alex is sitting there saying, what the hell is going on here? Because Alex told me what actually happened was that not only did they get permission, but an attendant actually had to open the elevator for her to get out of the 5th floor, escorted them downstairs to the lobby. The attendant opened the door of the Uber and had him get inside. And she's like, what the hell is going on? That we're now criminals for going to an Italian restaurant? And by the time they came back, we put the story up while they were still at the restaurant. And whatever happened, the management was falling all over themselves, apologizing to her. But, on the heels of getting a letter saying she can go wherever she wants, she can go out to eat, she can be with her relatives, they're calling the cops.
I don't understand this at all. And by the way, since when do you get to call the cops if it's a false police report? I mean, on what basis and who's calling and what basis are they saying that she's being kidnapped?
I think they got their signals crossed. They got their signals crossed. I mean, I don't know that the people who called knew that the attendant did it, but whatever it is, it's certainly not true that she can simply leave. We knew this with, just on her own accord. You need permission to leave that floor. And, I got to tell you, with the, NYPD going out this week, with the Adult Protective Services doing an investigation, with Wendy now really, really pushing to have a hearing to end the guardianship, it's feeling like the dam is breaking.
Yeah, I think so too. In fact, I'm surprised Joe hasn't jumped in here. I mean, when we talk about Joe, I thought he was getting involved and he would have solved this yet. They really could use somebody like him to jump into this thing.
I'm not sure it is Joe at this point, but I think they've got a plan. And I got to tell you, the other thing that we didn't talk about, Mark, is that we got we're privy to these emails the judge sent to Wendy's her lawyers, saying that she's questioning Wendy's behavior, threatening to send her to a more restrictive facility, saying that she is trying to poison the jury pool by talking to the media. The judge is saying that.
None of this.
The judge is saying that.
Yeah, none of this makes any sense to me whatsoever. I mean, it really is it's inexplicable. I understand the idea that you're going to be concerned for somebody if you feel that somebody is being taken advantage of. But this has almost turned it all on its head. You've started with this ostensible concern for somebody, and you've ended up basically kind of putting them in their own jail to the point where you call and make a police report for kidnapping. That's just wild to me.
It's wild. Wild. But I got to tell you, I have a feeling when we talk next week, there are going to be even bigger developments in that case.
I think so too. And will you share the letter this time when you get it? Be a pal.
I'll do that. And next time, will you give me some stronger opinions?
It's a deal. I'll see you next week. I'll be even angrier.
Deal. See you then.
Thanks, Harvey.
Thanks, Mark.